Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of Island Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off, online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, and with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we're joined by current professional hockey player Alex Gregorich. Alex is currently playing in the Michigan Independence Hockey League with the Waterford Sharks. This is his first season with the Sharks, as he spent the numerous past 2 seasons in the Federal Prospects Hockey League with the Port Huron Prowlers and the Battle Creek Rumblebees in 2019, 2020, and 2018-19 spent some time with the Prowlers after graduating from Indiana Tech University, which is where he went to college for 5 years, I believe it was, and then you played 2 years of junior hockey in the MIHL. So you've been a little bit of everywhere. So it's gonna be a nice episode to get you on. So welcome to the show, Alex Gregorich.
Right on. Thanks for having me, Jack. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. But how have you been? Like, I know it's busy schedule, especially now since we're into the second half of the middle season. So how's everything in Waterford?
Yeah, things are good. We're really just kind of settling in, right? So we had a real hot start, 9-0, and then kind of struggled the last few. But we're prepared to go to Gaylord this weekend, get back on track, and move forward.
Yeah, hey, that's all you can do. There's always going to be setbacks in the season. It's a long season, so you just gotta ride those ups and downs and not let anything get to you, and go week by week, game by game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but before we jump into like your youth career, I want to start like a little bit like from where you are now in Waterford to backwards. So let's go backwards a little bit. So this is your first year in Waterford with the Sharks. So like, how did you find Waterford, and like, what's the whole story there?
Yeah, actually, so I was on the Waterford wheel 2 years ago when the league initially started. I got brought in there real last minute into the season by John Stonehouse. And I got introduced to Nick Parrott, Spencer Bowman, Chris Seeley, guys that are on the team now that were on the team back then. And I know we're working backwards, but going from there, the wheel decided to fold, and I got a call from Nick Parrott. He's like, "Hey, real interested in taking this on. Would you be interested in helping out?" So absolutely, being the hockey fiend that I am, said yeah, and was getting ready for the season. And then unfortunately I got hurt. I blew my knee out there and took the year off recovering. And I kind of formulated a coaching role with the Waterford Sharks last year. So I was always on the bench, organizing the bench, just keeping it going. And so even though I wasn't on the roster last year, I was still heavily involved with them.
Yeah.
Which was it's great for the mental health, right? When you get injured and you're taking time away from the game, it's good to stay involved, at least for me. But then, came back this year and was able to play again, and here we are.
Yeah, so, like, what is it like having that, like, player coach role now that you're officially back healthy again and playing this season, as well as having that coaching role and, like, making decisions with the team?
Yeah, it's interesting because I kind of got a little bit of experience watching Joe Pace and Matt Graham of the Port Huron Prowlers back in 2020. So I got to see how they did it, how they ran things, how practices were ran, how Matt Graham ran the forwards. And I just kind of took that all in, as that was really I played 40 something games in the Fed, and I just tried to soak up everything I could. And so being able to see how Pacer and Graham handled things, just kind of moving it over here to Waterford, right? And
Yeah.
it's awesome because so many of these guys I'm close with, I played college with, like Jarrett Pfeiffer, Chad Frost. I've played with Spencer Bowman the last couple of years, and so it's just kind of a group effort, right? So we try and everyone makes the jokes, like Reggie Dunlap and stuff, but I like to think of myself kind of like John Beebe in Mystery Alaska, the
Oh, yeah.
the captain more of than per se the coach. But we have a lot of guys that pitch in their voice, and we kind of maintain it that way.
Yeah, it's like, what was the biggest thing you took away from, like, Pacer and Grammar and just being able to, like, separate yourself from, like, from coaching and playing, just, like, making those decisions, and especially since they've done it for so long, they're so good at it.
Yeah, they did a really good job at separating themselves from coach to player, right?
Yeah.
So, you'd go into the locker room and they put their coach's hats on, but when it's on the ice, they're their player, right? They're
Yeah.
themselves, they're playing the game. And that's something I'm really trying to focus on and get better at. And I'm going to say at the beginning of the year, being player coach, I was always thinking like how to run the bench, what's next, how to organize strategy. And it was taken away from my game, right?
Yeah.
And so I was able like, okay, let's get more voices in here. Let's get more eyes. Adam Parrott's on the bench. If some of our goalies that aren't playing that night, they're on the bench too. They're helping see everything out. So I'm able to take a step back, lean on the guys to help make those coaching decisions and see, so that way I can also just be on the ice and play.
Yeah, and, like, that's good to find that, like, separation, just like you were talking about with just, like, it's taken away from how you're playing the game because 'cause you're worried about something else on the bench rather than just being on the ice and playing the game and trying to win games instead of just being the one to be, like, controlling on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. They'll say like, keep it simple, right? Don't try
Yeah.
and do too much. And that's what I'm just really trying to do in this role here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, like, the Michigan Independence Hockey League's a newer league with since it's been around for, like, a couple years now. So, like, what do you think has been, like, the biggest successes so far, and, like, what the mill needs to improve on in the future?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen it. I've jumped in here in like the first year of the MIHL, like towards the back end, right? And I'm really starting to get in like the intertwines and figuring out how it all works.
Yeah.
Um, but one thing I'm real proud of is just the level of talent that we've been able to bring in, just kind of across the league. Muskegon started off, they're back-to-back champions, and Gaylord's starting to get a real strong team.
Yeah.
We've been able to recruit very well in our location, and just really where our location is, and having all the interest from, we have a lot of interest from players that played ACHA D1 that are from the area, and it's bringing that in, and they have friends, right? They're bringing them in. And, now the Blue Water Stars, they're, players like you and Charles DeBow and, just bringing in more and more talent. It's becoming very competitive, and doing that is able to help develop players to get to the FPHL or the SP, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end goal for what I want is, the players that are trying to move on, let's get them good competition so they can develop and get to the next level where they want to be.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, especially, like, being in the league and, like, you as well, like, everyone I've talked to has been like, yeah, the talent's, like, the best it's ever been, like, you're getting guys that are dropping from, like, the Fed or the SB, and they're coming over to, Muskegon, Waterford, Gaylord, Blue Water, Warhawks, and like it's just the competition is getting better and better, and like teams are changing every single week, and like we're gaining more and more attraction like every single week for all the players that we're signing.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Word's getting out. I've been around a lot with hockey, right?
Yeah,
Juniors, AAA. I mean, I played house for a long time, but I've met so many people. And I'm getting messages through Facebook and people reaching out to me like, hey, what's this MIHL? Give me details. And they're interested in coming out to camps or potentially starting their own team. I had a friend in Dubuque, Iowa reach out to me and he's like, hey, what's this league? What's it about? Is it something that we could get into over here? And even though we're trying to stick, that travel doesn't really,
yeah,
make sense for us right now.
yeah.
It's pretty cool that the league's getting a reputation to where people are interested in joining, and that's a big win for year 3.
Yeah, and it's just people want to expand the league as well. Like I know, just travel. Like I know travel and all that. Like obviously it costs money, but like just to see everyone like venturing out, like it's just incredible to see because the mill's only been around for what 3 years, so it's incredible to see how much it's progressing in those 3 years.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I think that's spearheaded, by Nick Parrott and um, Miles Grix,
Yeah.
and Muskegon over there. So it's just they're really doing a great job and moving forward. And I think they have a great vision. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree with you there. It's like what has been your time with the Waterford Sharks, especially this season, and how you guys did have that like very hot start and just the overall experience in Waterford.
Yeah, I mean, the experience is awesome, right? Like we really treat it like a one big family.
Yeah.
We're trying to make sure that culture is there, right? And that really helped with the 9-0 start. We just kept building off each other, and last year losing to Muskegon in the championship, we got a taste of what it could be like. Getting all the way to the finals, but then we lost. They swept us. So we kind of came out hungry. And we found some adversity halfway through the season, but a lot of our guys are experienced. They played college hockey, they played juniors or overseas. So we have that experience to where we were able to get through it and then move on to this weekend in Gaylord. And I'm really enjoying it as a guy that, I played in the Fed. I was hoping to get back there, got injured, wasn't really sure what I was going to do. Ended up finding a full-time job. Like this fills the void for me in the competitive level and just loving the game. Right.
Yeah,
I'm
that's all that matters is just loving the game.
Yeah. You just love the game. The game loves you back, right? And
Oh
I
yeah.
just can't seem to get away from it. But Waterford's been an awesome experience. Love it there. And I only see us going up, to be honest. So
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, like you guys were in the finals against Muskegon last year. So like what was that experience like? I know you were on the coaching side of things during that time, but just be able to see the boys competing at a high level because playoffs, the intensity goes up.
yeah, some of the guys that we had on our team, we've had guys that took time away from the game. So just being able to get, we all know regular season hockey and then there's playoff hockey. Like
Yeah.
there's a difference.
Oh yeah.
And we were able to get through. We beat Gaylord. That was a great series. They played hard. And I think we won that with 3 seconds left.
It's a
And
heartbreaker.
that was an awesome series. So we rode that high and we really felt confident, but then we got to Muskegon and they were just playing. They were an experienced team. They've been together. And they took it to us and we're like, okay, that's what this league's about right here, this series. So that experience is what we were able to take that experience and move it to this year and really kind of formulate our work ethic and our culture and how we want to do things because we were in that spot and hopefully this year, we're taking the cup home. So
Yeah, and like you like just at that point it's just experience and then the right team is getting hot at the right time and that could make a difference for a whole playoff series.
oh, absolutely. Any given day, right? Any given
Oh yeah.
day.
Absolutely. But I want to jump into your Fed career a little bit here. So after you graduated, after your last season at Indiana Tech, you joined the Port Huron Prowlers for 3 games where you got a point, you got an assist in those 3 games. So like what was What was the process like to get to Port Huron after Indiana Tech?
Yeah, so I played my 5th year Indiana Tech. We were in the NAIA at that time, and we had an incredible year. I think we went 34-3, and we won the NAIA. And I had the honor of being captain of that team. And we had a lot of players that were looking to go move forward, right? Move on to the
Yeah.
next level. And we had an assistant coach, Andy DeCristofaro, and our head coach, Frank DeCristofaro Jr. They had connections, and Andy DeCristofaro was a goalie. He played at Port Huron and played in the Fed. And
Because
so
he
he
played at
reached
Robert
out.
Morris, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So he played there, and he reached out, and he got Brian Skillicorn and myself opportunity to go up to Port Huron and just kind of see what it was about. And Pacer put us up in the hotel, and we were there for a week of practice, and told us we were in the lineup. And first games were against Carolina, and they're good. They're no joke, right? And they were a
Yeah.
powerhouse back then, back in 2020. So that really opened my eyes, and I got to play in a line with Jonathan Giuliano, which I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he's a great player, a lot of experience, and I definitely learned a lot from him. And it was just awesome. The fan base there in Port Huron really was welcoming. And because I'm a big guy, I like to hit, and Port Huron, the fan base likes people that hit. And then so it just kind of worked out. And yeah, the one point I just forechecked, finished my hit, puck bounced to Tommy Kilgore, and there you go.
Put it home.
Yeah, it's just a hard forecheck. So keeping your feet moving. But it was a great experience. But it was right before playoffs, so they couldn't keep us. We weren't going to get enough games
Yeah.
in. So they were formulating their playoff roster, and then so we got those 3 games, and we went back to school.
A great learning experience. Oh, so like what did you take away throughout those 3 games to help you even when you did go back and then when you went into Battle Creek the year after?
Yeah, I learned that I had to just get stronger, become a better skater. Um, that formulated what I did in the off season. So I spent some time in Fort Wayne. I lived there during the off season. That's where I went to school, and Indiana Tech is. And John Solway, he's the skating coach for the Fort Wayne Comets, and I was able to skate with him and guys like Jackson Leaf and Matt Miller. And we worked 2 or 3 times a week. We were on the ice, and so that way when I got to Port Huron, I was ready to go.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, got there and understood. I'm a big guy. Pacer made it real clear, like, hey, your role is to hit players. Get the puck to the net, move it, but most importantly, hit, right? So it was a great learning experience, and I loved it. I had an absolutely great time. There was, oh man, so many guys there that we just, we were definitely a family. Okay, Port Huron Prowlers were just, they're really tight in that locker room, and I got to learn guys from like Justin Portillo, Brian Parsons, Zach Zolkanich. Those guys kind of took me under their wing and got to learn, coming to practice every day, the do's and don'ts, when to go to the gym, meal. Portillo really led the way with that. And so I had a great time. I was always battling for like the 9th and 10th forward spot out there. So it was tough. You always got to, keep your head on straight as best as you can, and understand the work ethic mentality. You got to go there and put your work in and do your role. And I loved it. Absolutely loved my time in Port Huron. I was roommates with Jarrett Pfeiffer, who was my roommate in college as well. So it was just a super easy transition. And Pfeiffer's actually with me in Waterford right now. So it seemed to be a package deal, but that was awesome. And then I want to say about January, I think it was, that Pacer called us and was like, hey, we traded you to Battle Creek. And it was me and Jarrett and our defenseman Alex Strack for Brandon Contrado and Austin Weber, I believe. And so we went over to Battle Creek, and honestly, Jarrett and I got instant top 6 minutes there. We played a lot, and that was the best thing for my career. Even though we went from a playoff team in Port Huron to Battle Creek, I really got to experience, all the minutes playing, going down to Columbus and playing top 6 minutes. And it was a great time. Adam Steele took care of us there. And I had another friend from Indiana Tech, Stavros Soilis, who's in Elmira right now. He was there as well. So, it was it was a great year, even though we ended up on Battle Creek and we weren't winning. It was just a great experience, just building my game and networking, meeting people.
Yeah. So like all about what the mill is about, just developing. Like you just spent that time to develop, even though you may have not have been winning games, but you're still developing and you're most importantly having fun with the game.
Yeah. You go to practice, you got a smile on your face. Ryan Alves, he was on the team there, and he was really, really the leader, right? We're going to practice and he always had a smile on his face. Yeah, he had guys that know him knows he has a little bit of attitude sometimes, but he loves the game of hockey. So you get to practice and you're there working, and you come off a loss, you just work even harder. That's the goal. You don't want to settle for losing hockey, even though it happens sometimes, right? So
Yeah. Exactly. And like throughout your Fed career, you got 2 goals. So what was that first goal like?
oh man, trying to remember it. It was in Watertown, and really just being a big body, I was going to the net. I gave it to Haitham Oid, and Oid passed it up to Matt Robertson, and he's, I consider him a legend, right, in the Fed, and he's a well-experienced player, played all over the place, and Matt Robertson took the shot, and it was just sitting there in the crease. So I just poked her home, and really, it wasn't anything pretty, but it was awesome. In Watertown, they have a great fan base, and something I'll always remember. I still have the puck downstairs in my man cave by the TV, and always think about it.
Yeah, there we go. It doesn't matter like how you get it. You got a goal. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, just it's a lesson there of just get to the net. You never know.
Exactly. Throw the puck on anywhere you can and you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we talked about like the mindset that you had from being like that 9th and 10th forward. So like how important was it to have that mindset to like really like dig into it, because you're working for your minutes, and like it definitely is hard on you because you don't get that many playing minutes when you're the 9th or 10th forward.
Yeah, so being an Indiana Tech, even though I was captain, I was always on the third or fourth line. I was on that roll grind.
Yeah.
Shut down forward, hit, PK. So I understood what my role was, and I think that's why I was able to be successful moving forward. But getting to Port Huron and battling for that 9th and 10th spot, it was definitely something. I was not a regular scratch before, so.
Yeah.
Just understanding like, hey, you got to come to practice. You have to be on every day, and you have to, if you're not on, you at least have to be working 100%. And, I took that to the heart, and, guys, like I said, Justin Portillo took me under his wing. He's like, hey, you got to do this. When you come to practice, do this and this, always continue to work hard. And when you're in the games, get it deep, finish your hits, just the basics. It's just becoming real strict on the basics, and you'll get through it. And I did, and having those boys around me, being able to pick me up when I was down or not in the lineup was awesome. And I really thank Portillo and Zolkanich to be able to help me understand how to go about that process.
Yeah, a life lesson for not only the game but in life as well. Just nothing's going to be handed to you. You just got to work your ass for it, and like once you do that, you never know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, you just got to work hard, and
Yeah.
that's been my whole mentality.
Plain and simple for sure. But then you going backwards, you spent 5 years at Indiana Tech while you were the captain as well in 2017, 2018. So like what were those 5 years like, and then the transition between ACHA and going up to the NAIA after that?
Yeah. So 2014 was an awesome year. We had Indiana Tech's first ever year as a hockey program. We came in there as a band of misfits, and I think we went 8-22, but we really became a
The
family.
small wins.
Yeah, small wins, right? Like we had, a lot of freshmen, a couple of transfers in, but we were just trying to figure out what college hockey is, what the ACHA is, and how to even handle yourself as a student athlete. And we were pushed real hard off the ice, real hard. And that's one thing, you know, Indiana Tech was good for. And that was having real tough training camps. You know, you had off ice, you're not really walking the right way coming out, right? So your legs were always sore. But it was awesome. Frank DeCristofaro set a culture there, and we had great people. Like I said, Jarrett Pfeiffer, Chad Frost, you know, I still play with them. They were huge at formulating that culture there at Indiana Tech. And we just kept bringing in good people. And when you bring good people that work hard, you know, things go right for you. So every year we gained more and more wins, and we just couldn't seem to make it to the national tournament the first 3 years in the ACHA. Like we were just missing. We were like 20 plus wins, but we weren't winning. U of M Dearborn was in our conference, and they were winning. You know, they were moving forward. And but then also we went to the NAIA, and it was, you know, that was a very interesting experience, because now we're playing all different schools, and our out of conference games were, you know, the top ACHA teams like Robert Morris, Iowa State, Midland. There was a lot of good like high competition. Adrian College, of course, you know, playing them. But because of the NAI and ACHA switch, we were able to bring in some more players that, you know, some high caliber players, Zach Bennett, Cam Weyrich, Alex Potter. You know, I could list off the whole roster. We were just a powerhouse team, in my opinion. And unfortunately, the first year of NAIA, we lost in the championship to Aquinas. And then the year after is when we went 34-3, and we just had a family. You know, Felix Cronwall, Cam Weyrich, and Jarrett Pfeiffer, Brian Skillicorn, they were my assistant captains. And that locker room was something special. And I'll always think about, I have pictures of them all over my office here. You know, that year was something real special. And just being able to learn how to win that year was awesome. And Indiana Tech took great care of us. You know, the education was great. And that was number one for me when I went to decided on Indiana Tech, was how can I have hockey, you know, help towards my education, and what is going to be my best education for me. And Indiana Tech just fit perfectly. So it was outside of the hockey aspect, it was just great all around, because they really valued their sports. So their professors would really go the extra mile to help while you were going through hockey. They understood what, you know, the ups and downs of hockey and how it could affect you. And it was just a great experience.
Yeah, it must be pretty special to see how the program has grown from your freshman year to your fifth year, and then even what it's doing now, and how like it just progresses each and every year. You're getting more and more recruits, and just the team's just starting to develop even further than like when it first started.
Yeah. Oh man, it's awesome. So, you know, I've been trying to go back to the homecoming every year, and being up here in Metro Detroit, I've been trying to catch the games against Rochester, Lawrence Tech, you know, Cleary, Concordia, and I catch them when I can. But it's awesome to see. You know, they've been in the top 10 almost all year here in the ACHA. Last year they had a solid run in the tournament. So just being able to see how that's, you know, built up from the first year of the program, you know, that going from what the locker room and what the rink looks like, and then going back now and seeing their setup, it's just incredible. You know, they've done a phenomenal job on maintaining the culture. And that's important. You know, it's hard to bring in people and have a lot of turnover and still maintain the same culture that helps you improve. But Frank DeCristofaro has it figured out. I think, you know, he's well experienced, and he's got a good staff around him. They have their ACHA D3 team as well. That's head coached by Jordan Reese. He played at Indiana Tech as well. And so they have that culture kind of through both of them. And I think that's very important, because, you know, also being able to pull D3 up to D1, you know, ACHA, or actually they're D2, excuse me. They're D2 now, ACHA D2. So keeping that within both programs is going to help them just, you know, go even further.
A big happy family that's able to keep culture around throughout all the different turnovers. Like, that's something special that you want to stay a part of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm definitely proud to wear my Indiana Tech jacket. You know, I'm always proud of those guys. I'm proud of what they're doing. proud of what they've done and excited to see how they do in the tournament here. I think the WAC tournament's going on this weekend. So they have the first round bye. I'm not sure who they play in the second round.
Yeah, love that. Just continue to follow them along and be a proud alum.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but you're captain your senior year for Indiana Tech. So like what were some of like the lessons that you learned to help become a better leader, and especially now where you're at with the Waterford Sharks, and just to be able to go on from what you learned from Indiana Tech to Waterford Sharks where you're the captain?
Yeah. So I was assistant captain the first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year. I didn't have my letter my junior year. I had a lot of stuff going on family wise. So hockey kind of took a back seat. And then when I came back and was honored to wear the C for my senior and my 5th year. And that honestly, I just had good people around me, good assistant captains and people that I could really lean on. I felt like I was well respected in the locker room, but I think it takes a village.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And so just learning, from Frank, how to be a leader. He put us through a couple like leadership courses. And you go through adversity, right? I first year with the C, we lost in the national championship of the NAIA. And just that in itself, and dealing with the family that we had there as in the locker room, just ups and downs. You don't handle things perfectly, but you learn from them.
Yeah.
So I've had the opportunity to have a lot of lessons at Indiana Tech that I still, I use in my everyday life, not just, on the ice, but off and at work as well. Something is just understanding that not everybody's the same. Some people react to different things differently. Some people are more comfortable with situations that are handled different ways. And it's important to realize that. And that's something I really try and focus on and take to, is wearing the C is being a good leader, being a good, not only being a good example, but also being there for everybody when they need it. And that's super important.
Yeah, and those are great lessons, especially as a captain, because not everyone takes things the way that you would take it or someone else takes it. So you just gotta find that medium to help everyone in their own way that they're comfortable with.
Yeah. How can we get everyone moving in the same direction? It's not
Exactly.
always the same
Oh,
strategy. Multiple strategies have to be used. So
yeah, exactly, and like that's a big key there. But like you talked about, like your education came first. Like, what was that balance like between your education, hockey, and then like a social life? Because just having like friends outside of the rink as well.
so I mean, social life, we were always with the boys.
Yeah.
Um, at school, whether you're in the dorms or at the hockey house, or you're just always with the boys. So social life just came naturally. But Indiana Tech put a heavy emphasis on being a student athlete, where student comes first. You have to maintain a certain GPA to be eligible, the typical college stuff. But because I went to school I played those 2 years of juniors, and before I actually went to Lake Superior State for half a semester, and then played AAA after that. But going to college as a 21-year-old, I had a different, perspective on school,
Yeah.
whereas I didn't when I was 17, 18, and I really took it seriously, and I understood like, hey, I got to have this much time for school. I got to get it done. Hockey's got to be a heavy priority, and whatever else outside of there, that's whatever else has room, then great. But knowing that school had to come first in order to play was super important for me. And I just took pride in it.
Yeah, that's huge, especially as a student athlete, like with the grades and everything, and how you don't get good grades, you can't play, and you want to play college hockey, so you got to maintain those grades.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're a representative of the school, and the
Yeah,
school has standards they want to set, and the team has standards they want to set. So that's a part of creating that culture.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree with you there. But going backwards, then before that, you played in the Met JHL and the MNJHL with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights and then the Central Wisconsin Saints. So what were those 2 years of juniors like and like the junior lifestyle?
Yeah. So uh, I'm going to back up just a little bit more. So right out of high school, I was trying to go to the NA. I only played in high school. I played double A out of Berkeley,
Yeah,
Michigan. We were called the Oakland Icebreakers, and it was just I call it like a rogue team. We were just, a bunch of buddies that were playing double B or house that just got bumped up to double A. And we didn't really understand what junior hockey was, or like what could have been after hockey. We just focused in the now and in high school, like high schoolers do, right? And went to a couple NA camps and had some opportunities, but my parents were real focused on me going to school. So I went to Lake Superior State and thought I could and was planning on playing on their ACHA team at the time. But that fell through, as in like the program just ended up, once I got up there, the program just didn't stay afloat. So by the semester end, it was the team was defunct, and I was playing drop in, and a guy by the name of Kevin Killips was there and was the captain of the Sioux Indians AAA team, 18U AAA team, and was like, hey, like I was 17 at the time. He's like, hey, why don't you come out to practice? And lo and behold, I stuck there. It was just a blessing just to drop in hockey. I'm a chatterbox. I'll talk to anybody. I just happened to be talking to the right guy, and got onto the Sioux Indians, and that was a great experience. And from there, I went to, like the Boston Chowder Cup and all different showcases like the
yeah,
EHK, just to get my name out there. And Wilkes-Barre caught my eye because um, they were real focused on student development and being a student and student athlete as well. And my dad was real strong onto that. He really wanted me to go to school, get education, use hockey to get my education. And so Wilkes-Barre had an opportunity to do that. And looking at what they're doing now, they have a full Wilkes-Barre Academy, and it's incredible. But I played on their junior B, the Metropolitan Junior Hockey League, and that was a lot of fun. We weren't the greatest team, but there was a lot of good guys there. And we had the Atlantic Junior Hockey League team there as well, and they were really good. They won the league that year, and so that was fun to be a part of. Practice with them here and there, but just get to watching how they did things. Wilkes-Barre was a good time. And then I had a buddy of mine now, but at the time he was a coach recruiting for John McCreary is his name. And he was the coach at Central Wisconsin Saints. But the year before, he was with New Mexico Renegades in the Western States. And he really wanted me to go out there, but I just didn't want to drive cross country, and so I went to Wilkes-Barre. But after Wilkes-Barre, I had mono and really couldn't play, and didn't really have any opportunities to get healthy in time for any showcases. And so McCreary put his faith in me and had me come out to Central Wisconsin. And the Minnesota League was great. It was competitive. It was great hockey. I loved it. I got there to Stevens Point, and we had a good group of guys. And and as the year went, I got a couple injuries. That's how it works.
yeah,
But then we brought on Marty Quarters to take over head coaching, and I learned a lot from him. He really cemented a lot of the way I see the game. He was a strict coach, but he was also a very likable guy, right?
yeah,
So he came in and he brought in some more players and was making trades. And next thing you know, we're the Saints winning 25 straight games going into the playoffs. We were on a roll, to say the least. And but we got to playoffs and unfortunately got bounced in the first round. And again, that's just more adversity that you learn from.
yeah,
I was a 20 bomb, not knowing what I was going to do with my career, and I wanted to go NCAA. I had a bunch of D3 schools I was talking to, but I just wanted to go somewhere where I was going to play,
yeah.
and know I was going to play, or at least have an opportunity to play good minutes. And that's where Frank DeCristofaro came in and recruited me to start the program, be a part of starting the program at Indiana Tech. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we said earlier, sometimes all it takes is just that one person to give you a chance, and look at where that opportunity took you. It took you from Wilkes-Barre to Central Wisconsin, and then led you to Indiana Tech, and look where you're at now.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, how the hockey world works, and just networking and work ethic, and how it all leads to your path.
A small world, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was very thankful for that opportunity to go to Central Wisconsin. Yeah, it was great. Just a overall great experience. I coach Gross or assistant coach Grosse Pointe South High School right now, and I tell the kids all the time, if you get an opportunity to play college hockey or
Yeah.
juniors, the experience is worth it.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully
100%.
we get a few that are actually interested.
Yeah, that's awesome, and just to have that, like, just re-put into people's minds that if you have an opportunity, take it. Like, it's worth the experience, and you make like a ton of great memories, and you never know where that path is going to lead you.
No, absolutely. You never know who you're going to meet.
Nope.
And what's funny is going back to the Fed being traded in a package deal for Brandon Contrado. Well, Brandon Contrado is now the head coach of Grosse Pointe South, who I coach with. And just, we met through mutual friends after that trade happened. So it's just kind of funny how, the hockey world works.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's such a fun world to be in. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but before we wrap things up here, so like, you grew up in Berkeley, Michigan. So, like, what were some of your like most fondest youth hockey memories that like stick out to you?
So playing Berkeley Bears, I think we were squirts. We got a chance of we won a championship on Joe Louis Arena.
Oh, that's
And I
sick.
remember, whatever age that is, I was coming across the blue line and I just flung a backhand. I remember just picturing the puck go up in the air towards the net. Like, it was basically like a dump and chase, but somehow it went in the net, right? So I have that fond memory of always scoring on Joe Louis Arena. Um, and just playing out of Berkeley, we house hockey, there's situations where you're only playing teams in that same location.
Yeah.
But for Berkeley, we were playing, Royal Oak, Grosse Pointe, Southgate, Redford. We were going all over Rochester, all over the place. So it kind of had the feeling of travel hockey without being, legit travel hockey. Um, and it was just, it was very cool. I had a weird path seeing. I played house hockey, or B, until I was 14, and then played double B my junior year of high school. And next thing you know, I'm playing double A my senior year. And instead of playing high school, I played, double A, just because for the money we were getting more games. And that's how
Yeah.
my family saw it. How could I play more hockey? And that's just how it went. And it's crazy looking back at it. I kind of wish I played for the high school just to say I was a Berkeley Bear. But the guys I played with, and the coaches I had going through that, the house program and playing double A was, experience I don't regret. So
Yeah, such fun experiences, and like, just like we're talking about, like the whole path and everything, where everyone's path is completely different, and it leads you to different places. So leading up to that, like, what are some like tips that you'd give younger players, whether it be going to triple A or double A to triple A, just B to double B, juniors to college, college to pro, just stuff like that, and just like what tips you'd give them?
the biggest thing I say is, put in the effort. Even if you're not feeling good, even if your hands aren't there, put in 110% of your effort that you have that day.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. Also, go where you're going to play. Go develop, be a player. Go somewhere that's going to allow you to be the player that you can be.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys, with there's a whole lot of junior hockey, and there's a lot of travel where they want to have their, that label of playing AAA, but really they might be a fourth line guy that might not see the ice very much. And that's all well and good. You learn your roles, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned, and good hockey players do go that route. But, take the opportunity to go play somewhere where you're going to play and develop. And I think that's extremely important.
Yeah, get that 1% better every day, even though you're not sometimes motivated to go to the gym or work out or go for that stick handling session. Just do whatever you can to get up, get that 1% better, because once you do that, every day starts to add up, and 365 days in the year, 365% better.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, man. Amen to that. It all adds up.
Oh yeah, it's the beauty of life, beauty of hockey. But to wrap things up here, Alex, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate your time, and I want to wish you the best of luck going forward with this season. See you in a couple weeks when we come play you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm excited to come play you guys. Or you guys are coming to us actually.
Yeah, we're going to Waterford.
Yeah, but you guys have played Muskegon tough lately. So
It's
yeah,
gonna
it'll
be a
be a
good
good
game.
game.
I'm excited for it.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for having me.